Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this message right here is going to be basically about you don't need a pass from black people to be black. Now you might think this is clickbait. You might think I'm saying this to be controversial to get views. This is how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And if you disagree with it, and if you are sensitive, it's just no need for you to even listen to any of my channel because I keep it 100 here. And if keeping it 100 is not for you, then this is not going to be for you, this channel. Okay? I don't need a pass from anybody black to be black. See what we did? See what I see coming in cancel culture is that people gonna start trying to act like they can take your blackness. They already try to take, okay, you say something they don't like. They take your vocations, they take your opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. They try to boycott you, et cetera, et cetera. Next thing they'll be trying to do after they do that, the progression of that is going to be, oh, well, this person, we don't think this person is really should be considered black. And how do you define what's black? How do you define what's African? How do you define it? How do you define it? By the African culture, the African American culture. That's how you define what's African American. How could if I if I didn't know anything about it, how would you define it to me? If I was on the outside from a different country, how would you? This is what real black people should be able to do. You should be if you are especially if you are pro-black and you consider yourself pro-black. If you really consider yourself educated African American, you should be able to articulate what it is to be African American. You shouldn't feel challenged. You shouldn't feel offended. If somebody asked you that, if somebody said, well, what is it to be African American? What does it mean? Well, if someone innocently asked you that, you shouldn't be offended. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that people are so offended. They got the racist syndrome when you can't talk about any real issues. Because as soon as you bring it up, all you're thinking about is flashbacks from other things. And you have to shake yourself off that and realize that some people have innocent motives and some people are swords of correction. Whether you like it or not, you're not God. You don't ordain anything. You got to understand that. So again, if someone asked you, what is it to be African American? Define that for me? You know what most people are going to do? You're going to start listing things from the culture. You're going to start listing things particularly from the American culture. That's what you're going to do, which is tainted by white superiority and white control and white deception. That's a 7. So you're going to define a ethnicity by the culture, which is tainted with deception, control, and racism, and captivity, and struggle also that the white man put upon you. Oppression also. Now, if somebody asks me, I'm not going to use the culture. I'm not going to use the culture to define an ethnicity. I am going to say someone that stands for the livelihood, the perseverance, the cultivation, and the preserving of African life in the African people. That's what it is to be African. Now you see the difference? Now you see the difference between me and you. When you're not preserving African life, but you say you black. When you're not preserving African American people, but you declare up and down that you're black as they come. but we don't see you preserving life. We don't see you cultivating life. We don't see you doing that. So if I didn't know, so let's look at it like this. If Africans were flowers, right? And you say, well, this is what it is to be African American. These flowers come from this culture. This culture is what grows these flowers, right? Something like that. But you're chopping the flowers down. You're not cultivating. You're depriving the flowers of the water that it needs, the fertilizer that it needs. You're depriving it of everything, right? But how could you say really that you African? People gonna say, well, why are you destroying those flowers, those African flowers then? So what makes you really African is that you get down and you cultivate the African flowers. You water the flowers, you fertilize it, you get the weeds out the way. Now you see what I'm saying? That's what makes you define you as African. You are a keeper of the African flowers. If you're not a keeper of the African flowers, you are what I call black. And that's no disrespect, but you black. You have a complexion that is African, but your soul is not African. If your soul was African, you would be preserving African lives and African in well-being. That's what makes you African. If you go to any other race and you would understand, okay, how can you say you're really an Irishman when you kill an Irishman? They don't do that. The Irish protects the Irish. The Irish preserve the Irish. The Irish preserves and cultivate their people. You don't see Irish tearing down other Irish, do you? We're the only people uniquely that do that and then think we can identify with our ethnicity. When you tear down, you then you deny yourself of that right, in my opinion. You can't tear something down. Come on now, there's laws to this. There's principles to this. Right? These are the real principles. Why you making up fake principles for why people are black? You got all the culture and all those reasons. We get that. But them the same people that kill people. Them the same people that tear down African flowers, talking about they're black. Be the ones in the culture. It be the ones in the middle of it. It be the main ones in the middle of it. Look at all your greatest people that you mourn. The Tupacs, the Biggies. You still mad that they gone. And if you keep it 100, you can blame the government. But let's keep it a buck. That was other black people destroying African flowers, and you still haven't gotten over it yet. That's what I'm trying to show you. And playtime has to be over. Not is over, has to be. It's no options. Okay? You cannot sit here and have the luxury of saying that you're African American, but you do not preserve African thought, African rights, African life. We have no culture. What we have is a tainted customs and practices influenced by what the white man wants us to do, what the racist white Americans want us to do. Kill, that's all in the culture. Killing and shooting and all of that. Drugging, that's all in the culture. That's not culture. That's what you've been given to destroy you. That culture, the American culture, the African American culture, is to destroy you. And you can say make lemons out of lemonades. You can use all the little analogies you want. But at the end of the day, let's look at the customs. Let's look at the word culture. And in your own time, look it up too. Culture is practices and customs of a people. Well, let's look at the practices and customs of the African American culture. Is it righteousness? Is it holiness? Is it preserving life? It is not. It's drugs, killing, street life, basically. It's the foundation, one of the strongest foundations is street life. That's not preserving you. That's not preserving your people, which explains why the death rate is up so high, because the culture that has the practices and customs of the street life in it. That's why you'll have BET shows, awards, and they're awarding people that uphold a detrimental lifestyle that we're all trying to escape from. They're award that because you know why? Because it's culture. The people that present these things present to them the culture. You know, and if you don't realize this, you'll be sitting up thinking that is what identifies you. It does not identify you because it's too tainted from all the things, all the mazes of the white racist white Americans that you just now getting out of. But it's too late now. The culture is what it is now. Now this is what defines your culture. The taintiness, all the foolishness, all of that is put and dumped in what you call the African American culture, the killing, the drugging, all of that. The street life, which is nothing but a trap, and some would say a trap made by the white man for you to fall in. And this is how many people identify themselves, and therefore it continues. See, what should define you as African American is that you preserve Africans. You are a keeper of, particularly here, you are a keeper of African thought in life, right? You preserve that. If you're not preserving that, and you're out here on something else, then guess what? Can you honestly say in your heart of hearts that you're really African? Or are you black? You just have a complexion and your soul is not in any way connected. Feel your soul. Because a lot of y'all lost y'all soul without selling your soul. You lost your soul. It's one thing to sell your soul. It's one thing to lose your soul. You can lose your soul too. And some of y'all lost your soul. Check your stomach. See what you feel about Africans. See what you feel about preserving African life, about preserving African thought. It's nothing there, is it? It's nothing there, right? You lost your soul. You didn't see that, did you? They slowly made you lose your soul. So don't talk to me about who's this and who's that. Because at the end of the day, though, nobody can take your blackness. See, I'm independently black. You know what that means? I can stand alone as an African tree with no need of any other Africans to define me as an African tree. I don't need anyone to say, hey, that's an African tree. I'm 4 different types of African, by the way. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, I went and found out who I am. I went and found out my DNA. I'm 4 different types of African. For people that may not think my African roots are not solid, I'm 4 different types. Okay? And I don't need anyone to point and say, hey, you know, that's an African tree over there. Or someone, and no one can say, hey, you know what? That's not an African tree. No one can do either. They don't need any, you don't have to solidify it, or you can't discredit me for it. And you have to notice as the righteous African, because the first thing as a righteous African you would do is separate from the African American culture, because it's tainted with it's Americanized African customs and practices. I'm going to be talking about that too. You have to become, you can't be an Americanized per se African. You have to come out of being Americanized because it's full of deception. It's better to come all the way out and then say, okay, now let me see. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool, right? Come all the way out of it though. And then come back in and pick this, that, and the third to pick up as apparel. But for right now, the righteous African has to come out of the practices and customs of the African American culture here in America. You got to come out of it because the righteous African has no place in it. He or she has no place in the culture. That's why you find yourself not watching everything and not listening to everything, and you find yourself really not a part of it. You know why? Because you're not part of the culture. You're a righteous African. I'm gonna tell you just like it is. You're a righteous African, and you are lonely. You know why? Because there is no righteous African culture. Because some would say that's a trap in itself, to keep you evil, to keep you corrupted, to keep you corrupt. Because at the end of the day, you call it cool, other people call it corrupt. Huh? You say you chilling, other people say you fail. See, what you got to understand is the white American culture is not as stupid as you think they are concerning spirituality and how to raise your vibration and all of that. They don't want strong, high vibrations in the country. So what they got to do, they got to give you things to lower your vibration. They got to give you things to destroy your vibration as far as being high and positive. People say high, good vibes only, but you're not, your community is not even producing good vibes. It's not producing good vibes. What you call good vibes is being quiet. Being quiet and smiling from time to time. That's not good vibes, bro. Good vibes speaks. Good vibes articulates goodness and righteousness. That's good vibration. You don't have good vibration from being silent. An evil person could be silent. That ain't good vibration. Good vibration has to speak and articulate itself. Good vibration has actions. Us as a people, we can't even go to nothing without bad vibrations. What that tells you, that in the culture has produced a bad vibrational dynamic. Oh, that's good right there. That's real good. Then explain to me why we can't even go to a cookout as a people without something going wrong. Why we can't have nothing going on anywhere without some kind of situation. You know why? Because it's a bad vibrational dynamic through the customs and practices that's put inside the culture, and people act out of those customs and practices. Because you know what the culture produces? A massive mentality. This is the reason why culture is so important for the racist white Americans to put on you, because they have no other way to control the massive mindset of the African American community. So what can we do? They'll say, what can we do? Well, we have to control them through the culture. We have to, because through the culture, we can create a massive mindset that thinks in the likeness of each other. That's why everyone thinks the same. You know why? Because the culture produces a massive oneness mindset. How everybody is going to think the same and be on the same thing? They have to create a massive oneness of mind, which is the culture. How else would you control the people? Because over here in Texas, they could be doing this. They could be getting a righteous revolution going on over here. In Florida, they could be getting a righteous revolution. They could be getting a righteous revolution going on in California and New York. So how are we going to stop that? We have to create a massive mindset of oneness of mind that is destructive. I know you got some real sinister people out there. You thought they were evil. You thought they were evil. And see, and like I always told you, the reason why the white man is still angry at you is because you destroyed his hopes. He's always reminded that you destroyed his hopes of a white America. You destroyed it. You didn't want to leave. You didn't do like the Native Americans and separated. You wanted to go where he went, and you destroyed. You think you destroyed his white American dream. You think he had you part of the dream. He's constantly reminded that you took his dream of having a white America. And this explains why he still has an animosity towards you specifically. He's constantly reminded that I could have had a white America if it wasn't from them. We could have had a whole, and it's taught from generation to generation. We could have had a white America if it wasn't from them. Look at all this good land. Now you see what it is? Now imagine if that was just only us. And they're bitter about that. This explains why the animosity doesn't leave. Think about it. Why are they still upset? You ever wondered? I mean, for real. How does it go from generation? What's the reason why it's going on now? Because you destroyed the more time goes by, with everything that's achieved, he realizes more and more that this could have all been to his race and his race alone, and they could have just populated this without you here. But yeah, he brought you here though. And that's what you need to realize. See, this is what makes you really African American. This is what makes it. I know. Your culture teaches you, yeah, that's a civil rights guy. I'm an activist. No. You're African American. You preserve African thought. You preserve African life. It's no options. And that's what we've been doing this whole time, is giving people options of what it is to be black. Ooh. Well, you can kind of be like this. You can pack a gun and go shoot somebody. Yeah. You could be ready to shoot black people, but you ain't talking about shooting nobody else. Yeah, you can be on that. You get options. I don't give options. The only way you can be truly African is if you preserving it. You preserving African thought. You're preserving African life. That's the only way. And sometimes it takes correction to preserve life. Well, if you got a bad kid and they keep getting in trouble, what you gonna do? Correct them. See, you've lacked correction so much. When it comes, you think it's the enemy. Oh, I'm not telling the truth. You need correction to preserve the life that's here. That's what you need. If you don't have it, you don't have correction, there is no balance. I can't love you. What parents would do that? They raise spoiled children that walk around like they ain't doing no wrong. Right or wrong? Did your parents raise you like that? When you did wrong, what happened? You got corrected. See, the problem is when you become adults here in America, it don't really go on nowhere else. People allow the correction in other countries. The first thing you want to say here, well, I'm grown. Ain't nobody gonna tell me. Okay, so then are you studying and teaching yourself? Are you educating yourself? If you're not educating yourself, then you're putting yourself in a position to go to a correctional facility where you are corrected for what you've done wrong, which means you're uneducated. So now you have to go to a correctional facility. Man or woman or child. Now you're in a correctional facility correcting something that you did not educate yourself on. So now you got to be corrected. Call it what it is. And so if you're not, so you cannot, you don't have, no one has the luxury of walking around here talking about I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. Okay, are you preserving African Americans? Are you mistreating African Americans? Are you mistreating uh, Africans that you don't even know? Then how can you in your heart and hearts identify with something you mistreating and destroying and abusing? Again, how can you identify with something that you are turning around and destroying? It doesn't make sense. So we've allowed people to say, well, you're African, but they haven't been preserving African life. They haven't been preserving African well-being and thought, real African thought, which is to persevere here and to give and to come through everything. This is like ultimately to give good to African is African thought. If your thoughts are not that way, then you know, how do you have the luxury of saying you identify with it when you defecating on it? You're defecating on it and say, oh, I identify with that. But you might as well say it. That's what it's like. But yet you have the luxury, especially if you look a little more African than the average African. Oh, you definitely got the luxury. No matter what you do. So you know what wind up happening? The people that don't look that African, they wind up being the ones that have more of an African soul because they can't rely on the outside to be identified as African. That's a 7. Oh yeah, when you a little mixed up, you can't rely on the outside. You got to prove yourself. But see, when you look the part, you get a little comfortable. Oh, I'm wrong about it. I'm wrong about it. You get a little comfortable because you look black. You gotta look. You get past the smell test every time because you look black. But if you got a little look that you don't look always black, you got to prove yourself a little harder, and they wind up having the more African soul. How ironic. I'm talking about here in America. How ironic. The ones that don't look it be the main ones that wind up having the African soul. Look at the light-skinned girls. They start putting perms in their hair. You notice that? Start wearing big fros. You know the type. Beautiful light-skinned girl wearing big fros. You know why? Because she had to fight for her African soul harder. So she went more with the raw African identity. While you got other black women putting perms in their hair. And I'm not knocking that, because some people do it for style these days. I give you that. But some people scared to rock a fro because they're embarrassed. Ooh. You really embarrassed. Ooh. You're scared. You embarrassed to have a fro around a white girl. Ooh. So in the end, it be a lot of times, it be the ones that don't look African, then they be the ones with the African soul. So I say everything so that people understand, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I also don't have the right to take your blackness. I don't have the right. I'm just showing you proper guidelines, proper common sense while you out here. You know what I'm saying? How other people will see it. And we've been doing this so long, destroying, and it's such a unique, if you realize how unique the situation is, then you would see how complex of a job it is. Because, okay, the white man made us, he put us in a situation of desperation, intentional debt. He wanted us to be intentionally desperate. Because when you put people together, and desperation takes place, they're gonna kill each other. You know. So that being said, it's not directly your fault. That's why I'm telling you it's a unique situation. It's a complex situation. It's not your fault, but you at some point become a man and a woman, and you realize in order for me to say that I'm African, I have to preserve this. I have to nurture this. I have to cultivate this. I don't have the luxury of going around scheming on only Africans. You're not scheming on white people. Like I always say, I'm not saying be a person to go and rob people, but more times than not, people rob people around the way in the hood, and they got less than $1,000 on them. And if I was a robber, it would make sense to me to catch a bus or go right across town where people are coming out of bars with $1,500 on them. It just would make sense to me. That just and so that shows me the mentality, is to prey on the weak, literally. Yourselves being some financially weak at times, and that doesn't even matter. People will prey on that, and rather than prey on the strong and get more, they rather prey on something that's weak. Because if you go play with these, I think it's laziness to do that. It's a lazy criminal. And I think a scared criminal. That's what it is. Because if you get caught robbing one of these white people, they're going to say, why you was even over there, sir? Why was you even over there in their neighborhood? You live on the east side. They live on the west side. Why are you over there? Now they're going to look at you like you really preying on somebody. But you is the whole time as a robber anyway. You are preying on someone either way it goes as a robber. See, they don't mind if you're preying on your own people. Go see the difference in the charge if you go preying on somebody across town. If you go rob somebody across town, I bet you'll get a bigger charge. I bet they'll sit you down a little longer. Long as you don't mess with those white folks over there, you can do what you want to do. But it always made sense to me if I was particularly going to rob something, I would either rob a bank or go where the money at. I mean, that's the difference between a person going to lick and a bank robber. I guess that's the difference. Because it just don't make no sense to me. The person has got less than $5,000. You got on a felony. That's a felony already, and you ain't making no money from it. That's a felony, and you ain't making no money from it. And you're gonna have danger with whoever it was you robbed if they know you did it. Now you got to watch your back. Now you're putting your life in jeopardy for less than $1,000, and you have a possible felony on top of that. So either the felony gets you or the streets get you. When you could have just probably went out on the other side of town and would be undetected because they're not expecting it. So the element of surprise wins. They're not used to seeing you do nothing like that. And so real criminals do it in their face. You do a crime right in somebody's face. That's what real criminals do. That's how I know a little bit. Real criminals do it right in your face. Okay, this is right where y'all at, basically. You ain't expecting me to do it here, boom. I just hit a $5,000 lick. And you know how long it would have took you to get that in the hood. I'm just saying. I'm speaking for the sake of information. Let's put it like that. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm showing you black thought, not African thought. They want to go rob somebody around the way. Dope man. You go rob the dope man, which is stupid, almost suicide. These young guys go kick in doors and rob the dope man. They thinking they being cool, and you rob the wrong good dope man that look after the kids, that kind of dope man. You think he a sucker because he nice, he always handing money to the kids. See, a snake would think, oh, that's a sucker right there. Look at that. We gonna get him. Yeah, we gonna get him. That's a good lick. Look at him handing out money to the kids like a sucker. And you a youngin' and you don't know no better. You think he a sucker. He done put some money in your head and you dead. And guess what? He ain't miss a beat playing with the kids. Hey, he dressed up for Santa Claus, a matter of fact. And you thought he was a good old jolly sucker. He was a good old jolly killer. Oh, hey, he was a good jolly old killer, wasn't he? See, that's the difference between the good dope man, and the snakes, the ones that think they bad. And then you got the good dope man, the good guy that everybody likes, really kind of like in the community. But you take his niceness for weakness. You take his kindness for weakness. And he put some money in your head and now nobody don't know where you at. See, I know a little more than you think I do. So you look the part, but you're not the part. The problem is half of these people look the part, but they're not the part. I don't care if they're being thugs. I tell people this all the time. Be professional with it, whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you see thugs and gangsters out here, a lot of them ain't going nowhere. They ain't gonna make no real money. You know why? It's not because you ain't a violent person. You'll shoot and kill anybody, but you're not professional. You don't know how to go into a 5-star restaurant and not reek of thug life. You can't go and put an outfit on and go to Red Lobster and act like a gentleman. You know you can't do it. And guess what? You can't even get where the real money at, because that's what the real gangsters want to do. They gonna want to go to Red Lobster, go to a 5-star restaurant, and they can't take you because you ratchet. You know what I'm saying? And you can't get into the doors of even the biggest gangsters because you're not professional. And everybody talk that thug life. That's why you got thug life and you got professional gangsters. Because see, professional gangsters would have it that they don't have to sell drugs. They can get a whole string of businesses and they can hustle like that. Who want to be ducking the law all their life? Who want to duck the law all their life, man? See, that's people in love with the game and the fame. See, I know better. That's why I do better. You in love with the fame and the game and all of that. Yes, you are. You're in love with it. You feel like a superstar, and that's why you can't let it go. You 62 years old. You 55 years old, out there, still out there running around, riding around, cruising like you 21 years old, hollering at these young women. Because you still in love with the game. You in love with the fame. You could have been pulled out a loan for a small business. You got ideas to hustle and everything. And you know why you ain't did it? Because you too focused on the game. You too focused on the fame. You too focused on it. It gives you a high self-esteem. It strokes your ego instead of you going and sitting down and running the business. Ooh. That's why you have professional and you got guys that's not going to ever make it. And it's sad because I already know. When you're professional, it ain't how you look. It's how you conduct yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's your principles. That takes you to the top. Whatever you be. You a killer? You got to be professional. You go out here, and I'm glad I'm getting to this point. If you go out here killing kids, you are not a professional assassin. Can we establish that? Can we establish that? The difference between ratchet killers and professional ones. This is the biggest problem in the black community is we have unprofessional killers going around shooting through walls and everything, don't know how to stalk their target properly, and going and shooting through and killing babies, right? And priding yourself on being a killer, but you're not a professional. You're not a professional, and you don't know how to wait and stalk and have patience. So you get antsy because really you scared they're gonna shoot you first and kill you first. So you go bang on them first. And maybe you do it out of anger instead of having patience for who deserves to die. That's one of the first one-on-ones in being a professional killer is patience. Okay. But see, I'm not here to teach you about that. Because in actuality, you don't need to be doing it. But that's one of the first one-on-ones. See, some people just have it. Like you got people that's in the military. They didn't live street life. They're just natural warriors. They're just natural strategists. Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, was not a thug. He just had a gift and an eye for war. And he was an excellent war, if not one of the most excellent war strategists. See, and that's your problem. You don't understand war masterminds and strategists. That's why some of the best drug dealers, even in your community, is some of the smart guys. Not the dumb ones, not the ones that walking around ratchet. It's the ones that already have the capability to do something else, run a business or something, and they wind up doing it. But you act like, well, that don't look like no thug to me. That's the best ones, you idiot. The ones the police ain't gonna think about. I've never known a criminal that want to be detected as one. Anybody know a criminal that want to look like a criminal? And that's what you got these days. And I'm not saying everybody. Some people getting down for theirs, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And you down for life and all of that, and it's obvious. But you got those, man, that are out there, man, that really in all actuality, you know what I'm saying, you wanna look more like the part, but you're not the part. You're not the part. You're not, and you're not the criminal. A criminal, let me tell you what a real criminal wants. A real criminal wants to do a crime without anyone knowing, right? Not everybody knowing and rapping about. See, that's what rap did. Yeah, I get down with mine and blah, 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 blah. And you tell it everything you did. That's why some real professional thugs do not hang with rappers. Because they feel like you're going to incriminate us. You talk too much. You get me paranoid. You might wind up saying something on the radio. And why is you talking about what you're doing anyway? That's how some people think about it. Stick to the dancing, man. Don't talk about, stick to the dancing. Stick to the dancing, man. Talk about the dancing, man. Hey, I would believe the guys talking about the dancing is more of the gangster. If you take an old school perspective, yeah, the one sitting up in the club talking about dance, that's the gangster. Dance. Yeah, that's the gangster right there. That's all he talking about. That's all you gonna get out of him, buddy. You ain't getting nothing else out of him but dance. Police come and cross their arms. They backed up against the wall watching in the club. All he's saying is dance. You ain't getting nothing else out of him. Boom. Rest of y'all tell everything. Yeah, we slid around about 3 o'clock. Know what I'm saying? Let them know what time it is with that Glock. Dang, you done told the time and everything already. Now, these days, did you know now it's done got so bad? I can't make this up. They got the cops. The cops go and look at rap lyrics to incriminate low-level criminals. They go and get rap lyrics, bro. I can't make this up. They actually start doing it. And so this separates the difference between professional and unprofessional. I showed you in every aspect of life, you have to be professional. And this is the reason why in the community in America, in the African American community, you have all this going on because no one's holding killers to be professional. No one's holding them today to where if you hear this part, if you kill a kid, your family's if kids die, somebody in your family dies. Okay, somebody in your family got to die. And see, if this is known, these youngins and these BGs out here will understand. If you wind up killing a baby, your uncle and aunties are going to die. Okay? You can't be out here, and the ones that send them should tell them that. If you kill, if you're supposed to be professional. If you don't hit your mark, if you can't make your mark, don't just start shooting. If you can't make your mark, you can't hit your target, you come back. You come back for another day. If you just start spraying and shooting just because they're running and all of that, and no, that's not professional. And if you kill one of these kids out here, then your auntie and uncle's gonna disappear. And if you don't put that standard, if the black community don't make that standard, you're gonna always have that problem. I'm telling you right now. You're always gonna have that problem. When them kids look and see kids or think about shooting the wrong thing because they know their family gonna disappear, I guarantee you there'll be a better professional shooter overnight. If they know their aunties and uncles gonna disappear, if they know that's gonna happen, I guarantee it'll be a whole change of difference. There is no consequences that the big dogs give the community. That's being hardcore. If you got a jungle, you got to have a jungle. Make sense? If you got a jungle, you got to have a jungle. Big dogs, y'all sitting up saying y'all ahead of the jungle. Hey, it's cutthroat. But you ain't applying the other part of it, though. The other part of the cutthroat part. The other part of the dynamics, is where if you do a crime and kids are killed, guess what, man? Your auntie and uncle got to go. That's part of the jungle. But you haven't made that part of the jungle, which makes me question your savagery. Ooh. You say you cutthroat, but I don't know. Because you're not applying the other principles of it. You're not applying the other principles of it. You got everybody shooting and everything. No consequences to the families of people that's out here killing kids physically, manually. Not no repercussions for other stuff and the wars and stuff like I'm going through with America and all this kind of stuff. Where they've been guilty of doing all kind of stuff against me, using children in psychological pedophilia entrapment operations. That's a different situation. Karma's going to give what karma's going to give. And I'm not talking about the religion. I'm talking about the reaping and sowing process. It's going to give what it's going to give, whether I get involved with it anyway. You can't do any and everything, bro. You can't. But you got these people out here going out here shooting. Kids being killed. And y'all do nothing. And you call yourself the big dogs. You know what's supposed to happen? His favorite auntie got to disappear, man. Boom. Yeah, the one he was smoking weed with. That one. The one he was smoking weed with. You know the cool auntie? Unfortunately, she got to go home. You know why? Because her nephew out here done shot some innocent baby. And see, when this standard is set, when this part of the cutthroat district, when this is added to the cutthroat district, then you will have the full game with the principles. You can't be halfway in it, but not giving the principles. See, the problem is you halfway in it. If you was really in it, you had the principles. You have all of it laid out. When you all the way in it, you got all the principles laid out. which means there's repercussions for this and that and the third. But because you're halfway in it and you're not really a crime professional, now you see where I'm going with this? You're not really a professional crime underworld. You don't lay out the whole principles. Ooh. Because in other cultures and other ethnicities, they lay out the whole crime underworld. It's laid totally out with all the principles. You're the only community that don't have the real laid out crime underworld. The whole thing. Not big dogs moving weight. I ain't talking. That's part of it. That's not all of it. And that's what you want to look at. Well, the big dogs moving weight, we got the crime underworld right there. Nah, bro. You ain't got the whole crime underworld because you don't lay out all the principles. There should have been something done about that if there was a whole crime underworld. Ooh. That's how you know it ain't. If it was, then why ain't nobody made out? Why ain't no real top gangsters made something happen about that? Because it ain't in your culture, there's not no real underground crime underworld. Not no professional one, not no whole laid out one. Of course, you got a whole crime nation, per se, but not a crime underworld. See the difference? See the difference? And it has professionalism in it and principles. And you can tell by the lack of principles, there is no crime underworld. Because with the crime underworld, there are principles. It ain't you do any and everything, shooting all around buildings and everywhere. No. You belong to the crime underworld, and somebody's going to hold you and your family responsible. See what I'm saying? Because you're a part of a professional underground crime world. And that's the difference, what I'm trying to show you. And I had to say all of that, whether I'm a part of it or not, because this is the solution. I'm not saying this is showing you what you are and what you're not, and why you have the problems you have. That's what I like about the Bible. The Bible also shows, some would say, street life. It says there are men that lie in wait for innocent blood. Go look in the Bible. That's not teaching, it's teaching you something, but it's not just holy instructions, if you will. But it's showing you life in darkness. It shows the Bible, that's why I believe. It shows the life of the wicked in darkness, right? And it shows the folly thereof. See, that's what's wrong. Listen, you can have somebody that's not from the streets, and God anoints them to show you. See that? See that right there? Have men and women anointed to show you what you're doing wrong. Because after all, God does see everything and know everything. And so it's all in your belief. So this is the problem. It all comes hand in hand with everything, because this is what people identify with: being reckless shooters, reckless fighters, and reckless violent people, instead of being professional and letting patience have its perfect work. Because that's what's happening with me and my enemies. If they think they're getting away with something, they sadly mistaken. I'm just like your daddy, and you thought you didn't think you was gonna get that whooping. You was laying in, you remember as kids, you thought you got away with it. You was laying in the bed, watching TV. Oh, ain't nothing gonna happen. As soon as you relaxed, boom, come on in here. That's how you gotta do it. That's how you gotta do it. As soon as they think they good and they watching TV again and they relax, that's when you give them that spanking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's no room for people that's in this world has now become, after COVID-19, death is, the portals of hell is opened up every day. I'm just calling it what it is, because everybody ain't going to heaven. Most of these people are not going to heaven. The Bible says narrow is the way that leads to life, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. Half of these people are going to hell, bottom line. And so hell is hungry. Hell is being fed. Hell has a more heavier appetite than it used to because people are dying from COVID every day. So it's something spiritual that you may not understand that's going on that's now never going to stop. People are dying more every day, every single day, right? Every single day, right? And so more souls are being swallowed up every day. You think Satan gonna let that stop? You think he's gonna let you get back to normal? See, that's what you don't realize. The satanic kingdom is loving this. All these people that's dying every single day. You think he's gonna let that stop? So we have shifted, and times are too serious to be playing any games because the portals that lead to death is open way more than it used to be, right? And it's just anybody. Therefore, God is looking at how people can ignore death and play games. You gotta go. You listen. It's one thing to be at war during these times. It's another thing to be a complete clown during these times. There's no place for you anymore in this world. There is no place for you. You think it's a place for you and it's not. This whole world has changed and you're not good. You're not good. I'm good, but you're not good. I can hear you a mile away, sucker. And that's for a woman. Yeah, that's for you. I hear you. You a sucker. Let me tell you something, man. Ain't no room for clowns anymore. Ain't no room for no clowns. This ain't a clown world anymore. Since COVID came, like I said, and people dying every day. It's no time for games. Women can be suckers too. And the person knows who I'm talking to. You know I'm talking to you. People eavesdropping in my building. That's what I'm talking to. It's a person, yeah. Didn't realize I was on this level. Sucker. And that's another thing in your country. You got women, you men that worship women. You need to start being real students of war, and women can get it too. One thing I tell people, as a warrior, I don't shoot, I don't beat on women, I don't punch a woman. I have never in my life balled up my hand and punched a woman. Ever in my life, right? I can honestly say that. God be my witness, for real. I can honestly say I've never took and punched a woman, right? In her face or anything, right? But if you enter into war with me, and I have to defend myself, I'll take your life. I'll take your life. And it'll be that. And that'll be the end of your story. You ask anybody that's a soldier. Out here. Ask them. Would you take, if you have to take a woman's life that's a soldier, what are you going to do? Oh, because she has a vagina, she lives? Her and her vagina can lay down. How about that? Your vagina can turn cold. How about that part? In order for you to be a real soldier, man, you have to think like that. I'm not promoting women violence. I'm promoting, this is equality. You want to be a man? You want to fight like a man? You want to play in our world? You die. Same thing somebody on the streets will tell you. You think a dope man gonna play with a woman? If you come into his world and you ain't talking about no fist fight, you want to go to war, you will be dead. That's why I'm letting you know. For women, listen, I do not care that you're a woman. If you enter into war with me, you can die. That's how you know I am a real soldier, because I ain't out here brown nosing no females. Them be the main ones they use. I'm a real soldier. I can't speak for you. If you're a Christian and you're not a soldier, I can't, you can't relate to me. I live in the real world. I live in New York City. You know what I'm saying? I don't have listen, if I have to protect my life, let me help you understand the right interpretation. If I have to protect my life, and it's my life or theirs, they gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Listen. I ain't brown nosing no females. You ain't nothing but another human to me. Understand that. Yeah, these other men, you bound down, trying to smell it. Trying to smell it, huh? I check them out first. That's why I last longer. That's why people like me live longer. Because ain't no woman gonna deceive me. One thing every woman know around me, hey, anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. That's how I make them think. Because some women sweet on other women. Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing because she a woman. So what? If she pulls a weapon on you, she dies. Simple as that. Simple as that. If they pull a weapon towards you and they're in your direction, like they're gonna come to you, they die, man. Simple as that. That's real warriors, not ones that just fight men. That's a 7. Boom. Yeah, you got a whole different world. Women are in the military. Where you been at? Yeah, that's how you know I don't play no games. You can think I'm crazy. You step into my world, and I don't fight women. Like I said, I have never balled up my hand and punched a woman in my life. But if you are threatening my life, what you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take your life. Simple as that. Hey, it's war. And it has, look, don't take it personal. There's a lot of women that get caught up in the street life and they wind up on the corner dead. You know what I'm saying? What you think happened? What you think happened? She stepped in the game, thought her little tootie-toot was going to save her and get her through all doors. Some men don't see vagina like you see it. Like you see it for yourself. That can't get your way in every door. Some men don't care nothing about that. And you can call them gay, you can say whatever you want, but you still dead. Now, I'm from North Carolina. You better recognize. I ain't one of these New Yorkers. You see my principles? Yeah. Don't care nothing about you being no female. That's what's wrong with them. They think that's the way in. Yeah, half of these enemies think that's the way in. Women that tells me that's your weakness. That ain't mine. Women are not my weakness, buddy. Yeah. Neither are children. So don't test me. Yeah. Neither one is my weakness. Yeah, you better recognize. Now, back to what I was saying. No one has the right to sit up and define your blackness. Right? Nobody alive. And like I said, guys, if I'm too hardcore for you, if this is not for you, then hey, move along. Because this is the world we live in. This takes nothing from my credibility. This takes nothing from who I am. If I'm a little too graphic for you, you go to the Bible. The Bible is very graphic. It tells you how men become dung, which is feces. They become like dung, like a dunghill or something like that. It's very graphic at times when it describes the deaths of people. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why it's a difference between me and the Ned Flanders Christianity. I'm not Ned Flanders Christianity. You thought I was. I'm real spirituality. Yeah. That's why, yeah, beware. Be aware. I don't take nothing off nobody. This is how come I got this far, and that's why I am in the position that I'm in. You know why? Because I ain't taking nothing off male, female, or nothing. And if you're not like that, if you one of these, even if you're not a Christian, if you're one of these soft guys, cupcake buying guys, you want to go in the rain and buy women cupcakes, you know the type. Think he being a Casanova. Yeah, I'm going to buy some cupcakes. I'm going to buy a dozen of cupcakes. You know what happens to you? You know what happens, especially these days? And I'm not saying don't go buy a woman some dozen of cupcakes out in the rain. I'm not telling you. I'm painting a picture of the sucker. The one that is gullible, like the Bible says. A harlot woman, seen a simple man, and she pulled him into his house. You ain't never read that in the Bible? You know what scripture, Christians know what scripture I'm talking about. See, man, I keep it 100. You know, and this guy ends up a casualty to some woman with bad, evil intentions. That would never be me. I promise you that. That would never be me. You know what I'm saying? I don't play any games with anybody. You know what I'm saying? If you one of the people that play games, I don't know how much longer you're going to last in our world. If you are a recipient of games, I don't know how much longer you're going to last either. I'm pulling cards. I got a whole deck over here at this point. I pull cards. I'm shuffling a deck with all the cards I done pulled. I got a whole deck. You want to cut it now? You want to cut this deck of cards I done pulled? Huh? You want to pull? Hey, all you need to do is cut it. I done pulled enough cards to cut a deck, to make a deck. If you out here black, trying to pull somebody else's black card, trying to take, you can't take my blackness. That's what you have to understand. You can't take it. You can't take it ever. God has given it to me. Yeah, God has given me my blackness. That's what I should have first said in the beginning. How they gonna take your African when God has given you your African? He's giving it to you. How they gonna take that? Huh? They can't take it. And you can't let no culture take it. That's culture. That's all that is. If you don't pay attention to that and just be a righteous African, you will realize you're African and they're not. That's a 7. You will realize that you're African and they're not African. That's what you will realize. I came out of what is supposed to be black and became more black. It actually became black because look, you started caring about black people for real. You wasn't caring about black people as long as you was eating chicken and watching that foolishness on TV. You didn't really care about it. You didn't care about black people. You were entertained. Ooh. You were entertained. You didn't care nothing about black people. Check yourself. You didn't really care, did you? You prided yourself on not caring really at all. Half of you say you ain't got no F's to give. Huh? And then you came out the culture and then you start really preserving black thought and black life. Yeah. But you have to come out in order to see it. And I'm all sound of mind. See, some people, I ain't gonna say I'm a natural soldier boy. I'm just good at war. I'm just good at it, man. I am. You know, some people have talents. Like in the military, go ask people. You know what? Very skillful soldiers get called soldiers with talents. He's a really good talent. Some people have it, you know, and they just have a how you call it? How you say it? They just have a, I don't want to say a niche, if that's the right word, but they just have this. They just got it. They got a gift of it. You know what I'm saying? Little did they know. You know what I'm saying? I got eyes for it. You know what I'm saying? I know how to strategize. I know how to be patient. I know when my enemies is desperate. They desperate right now. They desperate. Why you pressing me if you're not desperate? You're giving it away. See, I studied the art of war. I've listened to it over and over and over again. The first time I read the book of The Art of War, I was 17. That's the first time I got it from the library. So since I was a boy, I've been studying that book, The Art of War, right? And I've learned the movements of my enemies. See, now they pressing on you. When they pressing on you and they pressing on you, they desperate. They're desperate for a response. They're desperate for evidence. They're desperate for a negative contradiction from you, and they can't get it. So you know what you do? You go harder. You smash on them. You give more integrity. You have more integrity, more character, more purity towards children. While they waiting for you to fall as a pedophile, boom, out. You give them more purity in the mind, purity in the thought process, because they got all type of technology to attack the mind, and they got psychological. They got witches and warlocks, psychics and telepaths. They got a whole psychic telepath network that can communicate with each other as you go throughout your day and everything. So what you do, you become more pure. Even if their families got to die, be pure in your mind, heart, and soul. Don't give them the luxury of calling you a pedophile, a rapist, or some foolishness. Continue to stay pure in your mind, heart, and soul, and don't give them the luxury of you giving in to it because you mad. You know what I'm saying? That's how they get you mad, and you just don't care. You know what I'm saying? But instead of doing that, you know what you do? You become even more pure. You know how you do that? Your spirituality. Now, you telling them about 44 states with child marriage. Boom, Al. What y'all was talking about? Guess what y'all got going on? I know you can't believe it, can you? Yeah, that's what God people do. Now your whole land is like pedophile Walt Disneyland. With the pedophile Mickey Mouse to match it. And all the other little characters. Because if anybody pedophile, it is you. Hey, you got the world record for the lowest age of consent. Yeah, you know I'm gonna keep finding this bazooka. This a bazooka. You can call me Mr. Bazooka. Mr. Bazooka is gonna continue shooting this bazooka. Why, you got a what? 9mm? I got a bazooka. You know what my bazooka is? My bazooka is 44 states with child marriage, buddy. Boom, that's the bazooka, baby. Blow your wall off. Blow your wall off. You ain't getting up from that. I don't care what you say. I want to know what your culture feels about it. Let's see those smiles. Smile for me, girls. Let's see your teeth. Hey, let's see your teeth, American culture. You got 44 states with child marriage. Let's see your teeth. Hey, it ain't my fault. Is it? Who you mad at, me or yourself? What can you do? That's the big question. What can you do about it? That's all life is about, is what can you do? What can you do? Because I can't die. You know why? Because I'm the truth, which means whatever happens, you lost. How can you kill me then? How can you kill me when you lost? You at my mercy every day. because you are a liar and you are a hypocrite and you got 44 states with child marriage. You at my mercy every day. I'm a real soldier. What you gonna do? You're begging, you're begging for your way out. I'm not the one to really give it to you. You know, your repentance is to God. And you haven't done that now, have you? So no matter how much you sit up here and plead with me, your repentance is towards God first, buddy. Because if you think we don't know the difference between child marriage and pedophilia, who you think you're fooling? You just passed your last child marriage law 3 years ago. Anybody agree with child marriage 3 years ago? So then no one believed in it, so then that means it's pedophilia. That's all it is. Nobody believing in no child marriage. And you just passed the last law 3 years ago. So it wasn't child marriage in the minds of the people, was it? It couldn't have been in the minds of the people. It couldn't have been in your mind or anybody else's mind about some child marriage. So all it was a cover-up so you can have sex with children, which is pedophilia. And we know this because you passed the last one 3 years ago, not 20 years ago, not 50 years ago, which shows clearly and explains my point that you have pedophilia right here, right now. And this is the bazooka, buddy. This is the bazooka. Ain't no, you politicians can laugh and smile like it's all good, but you know it ain't. Listen, you know it ain't. Because that last child marriage law proved it. Yeah, you could have had the established ones and almost got away with, well, that used to be like that. Not 3 years ago, big baby. Not 3 years ago. That's when you messed up. And you ain't got nobody to blame but yourselves. You can't blame me. So we don't need no inspection. We don't need you talk about, you can keep that cornball foolishness away from me. Because you out here slipping very hard. Slipping and set tripping. Well, you over here messing with me. You set tripping, buddy. And you're slipping. While you slipping, I'm going to tell you, you got 44 states with child marriage. I'll take that back to your team. Take that back to your team. You team pedophile now, buddy. Hey, hashtag team pedophile USA. Go ahead and start it up. Hashtag pedophile, team pedophile USA. Hashtag team pedophile USA. That's what you are, buddy. And ain't nothing you can do about it. That's why it's a fallen world. You don't play with a strategist like me. You know who's dead? You, not me. See how things have changed? Huh? You can't be serious. Like I don't know no better. Well, I wouldn't be saying it if I ain't know no better, would I? Huh? Would I be saying this if I ain't know no better? Looks like I know better. You don't think I know all the way I won all the way, do you? I've won all the way. This is called overkill. Just like you did on me. You tried to overkill on me. Now we're overkilling on you, bro. That's it. Look, it's reap what you sow. It ain't revenge. What the Bible says, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Is that revenge? Vengeance is the Lord's. Is that revenge? No, I'm anticipating the vengeance of the Lord. Why you being a cupcake Ned Flanders Christian? If the Bible says God is not mocked, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. I should be anticipating that. And if it says the vengeance is the Lord, I should have faith in that direction. See, the real truth of the matter is, you Ned Flanders Christians have not put your faith in the area of the vengeance of the Lord. Ooh. You say it, but your faith ain't connected to it because you feel like that's vengeance. Ooh. Boy, I bet them Americans got you good, don't they? They got you where you don't even have faith for the vengeance of the Lord. And you sitting up here without a gun. You sitting up here without thug life. You sitting up here without any gangsterisms. Sitting up here like a duck. A sitting duck at that. Not one in a pond where nobody can get you. You sitting like a sitting duck on the side of the shore. With no faith for the vengeance of the Lord. Well, I'm full of faith for the vengeance of the Lord. Heck yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. How you going to please him? You ain't got no faith for his vengeance. I do. So you mad at me? Or are you mad at the word of God? Okay. Because from my understanding, I'm supposed to have faith about every area of it. But let's check yours. Do you have faith? And I'm going to do a video about this specifically because I need to go in on this. Do you have faith for the vengeance of the Lord? Ooh, boy, that's good. Because you can't just think, well, God's going to do it. It says without faith, it's impossible to please God. Right or wrong? I'm not using the Jedi mind trick. The Bible says without faith, it's impossible to please God. Right or wrong? That ain't a Jedi mind trick. So what that means to me is if you don't have faith and you doubt concerning God doing something to your enemies, because you looking at the scriptures, love your enemies, but you're not looking at it that God will handle it and he will bring destruction, then guess what? You loving your enemies and ain't even got no faith for God to do anything about it. They just getting the full benefit of the full benefits. They getting full food stamps from you. They getting all of them. They getting the cash and the food stamps. They got the card and everything from you. You done gave them the card. You done gave them the food stamps. You done gave them the cash. It's coming monthly. It's coming monthly because all you doing is loving them monthly and you ain't having no faith for God to bring the vengeance. See, you ain't had to use it. You know why? Because the National Guard and the police been protecting you. They've been protecting you like a little donut in a little glass case. That's what they've been doing. They've been protecting you. So you haven't had to use your faith. I can give you that. You haven't had to use your faith in this area until now, where the police is on their side. You got Freemason police. They ain't with you. Look how they're killing black people. They ain't with you. That's why they're evil. Look at it for what it is. Why they killing people like that? The police now, they carry some type of evil spirits. I bet you some of them are. I'm not saying every solitary single one. I live in the real world. Not everyone, but many of them have evil spirits. Many of them are Freemasons. We still don't know what the Freemasons are doing. And this is the last country, excuse me. This is the last country where you need to be living, where you don't know what people are doing. Anywhere else, the rainforests of some other country, you might have people you don't know what they're doing. That's fine. Here in America, I want to know what everybody's doing. You absolutely right. I'm not hiding nothing I'm doing. You know everything about me, and I guess what? I'm putting it on YouTube for you to see. What you gonna do about it? Huh? You ain't got no tangible weapons. You ain't got no tangible, listen, you ain't got no tangible situations. You ain't got no tangible operations. Yeah, I know my rights, buddy. I'm a straight up professional. I'm a straight professional spiritual warrior. You have no tangible operations. Kick rocks. And I got you on 44 states with child marriage, so guess what most police gonna do? Look the other way. We don't want no part of that. Guess what good military gonna do? Guess what good FBI and CIA gonna do when it's time for you to die? They gonna look the other way because I'm telling the country about 44 states with child marriage, and they now consider me a good legitimate enemy. I have a reason to be an enemy. You never did. Half of y'all, even in the black community, you got bogus reasons. Some of you do. Some of you do. Some of it is conspiracy. You making up stuff. I got legitimate reasons. Now, just being black, yeah, you could, like I said before, you could be considered a legitimate enemy just based on your ethnicity. But come on, you adding little stuff. Some of y'all adding little stuff. You know what I'm talking about. You kind of add stuff. You adding this narrative, this American enemy narrative, and really, basically, you ain't got nothing solid. That's what I'm trying to say. You ain't got nothing solid, and I do. I got something solid. They got 44 states with child marriage, big baby. That's why this is the revolution. And I ain't got no problem with no good cops, good military. My enemies, beware of that. Beware of that, because they're going to turn the other way when it's time for you to go. They're going to look the other way. They're going to turn a blind eye when it's time for you to go. Oh, you forgot, like I told you in the last video, I got respect for military. I'm actually known by military. Keep that in mind too. That's for you women out here too. Out there mouthing in the hallway saying a little reckless stuff. Keep in mind I'm recognized by military. Keep in mind that. Might want to watch your step out there. It's lions and tigers and bears out there. Ain't playing no games. You step into my world, hey, we don't know what'll happen to you. Because at the end of the day, I'm more valuable than you are. I'm more valuable to truth and facts than you. You know what you're doing? Lying and walking around in falsehood and hypocrisy. Who needs that? You're a bag of trash. Dump that trash. That's what we need to do. Hey, listen, the Bible says there are vessels of honor and dishonor. I can get biblical with this. There's vessels of honor and dishonor. If you're a dishonorable vessel, what is that? That's valuable? That's trash. You just have never heard a man of God talk so boldly. You've been used to the Ned Flanders Christian. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it really is. You listen to anybody else talk like this, oh, it's not a problem. Oh, the man of God stands up, oh, who do he think he is? Well, you don't say that when all these rappers be talking crazy, talking about killing black people. Hey, you don't say nothing about who they think they are, do you? You should be saying who they think they are, talking about killing black people like that. That's what you should be saying. That's what you should be saying. You ain't saying it, are you? And guess what? They doing it too. Not only are they rapping about it, they doing it. By now, you should be saying, well, who do they think they are? But you ain't saying that. You asking me that. Who do I think I am? You see how crazy it is? Meanwhile, they killing each other. Meanwhile, they killing each other, and you want to look at me like I'm a monster. That's how retarded you are. And you think I'm supposed to take you seriously? You got 44 states with child marriage. I'm supposed to take you seriously. Buddy, you on the brink of death. Don't even know it. And I'm going to tell you why. Like I said, you passed your last child marriage law 3 years ago. What else I need to say? Ain't nobody in the culture or nobody agreeing with it. So what does it mean? That means it's not child marriage. It's not valid to the people, which means you're only doing it it's not a need of the people. It's not a need. No one feels the need to have child marriage. So what's in it? What's in it for people? If they're not looking for that, what they looking for? Child sex, buddy. That's what they're looking for. And you're offering it to them like it's some commodity in your country. Like it's some delicacy. That's a 7. It's like it's a delicacy, right? That's how I look at it. It's like some wicked delicacy that America's like, well, we got to offer this. This is a delicacy around the world. It wouldn't be right if America didn't offer it. Well, you tell me what it is. And they made the last child marriage law in 3 years when the world was high tech and everything then. The world was very high tech then. Let us not be forgetful. You had everything, smartphones, laptops, and tablets and everything. What didn't you have? You had plasma TVs, flat screen, big, huge flat screen. What didn't you have in 2019 when they passed these laws? You had Bugattis, Bentleys, smart cars, basically. Alexa. You have it all. And yet, in all of that wasn't good enough for the satisfaction of the humans here, was it? Wasn't good enough, was it? Had to pass a child marriage law. Disgust me. You can't be serious. Can't be serious. Hey, you can't be serious barking up my tree. I tear your whole snout off. Whoever sent you, see you with your whole snout. If you was a dog, your whole snout is off. You come back with your top snout off, smiling with your tongue out like a hound dog with the top snout off. What happened to you? Oh my God. I tore his snout off. He barked up the wrong tree with a mountain lion and I tore his snout off. I tore his snout off with 44 states with child marriage. Yeah, he's not coming back from that. I kept his snout for a souvenir. I'm going to put it on the necklace. I'm going to put your dog's snout on a necklace. Bet you won't bark up this tree again, buddy. Yeah, that's what you get. Yeah, that's what you get. You shouldn't have been playing around with me. I was minding my business. And you come around playing around with me? I done lived in too many places. I done lived in Los Angeles. I've soaked up the juice from all these different places. I ain't no little local guy like you. A little woman like you. I done lived all around this country. You can't play with me. You a local. Stick with the locals. You don't know what you're playing with over here. Yeah, you better recognize that. You better hear the difference. You better look for it. You better listen for it. When I done lived in California, all throughout this country, Florida, and all these different places, you can't walk in those places no sucker. You can't walk in those places no weak man. That's what I'm saying. You think I just went over there and did it. No one does that. Not in California. No one just goes there and just do it. Yeah, you don't do that over there. You do it over here. You got people dumped over here now. They complaining about it now. All these people from New York dumped over here. You used to having people dumped over here. Yeah, you don't get to go to California and do that. That's why they don't go there. You hear you hear people talking about tourists. I'm talking about tourists going to California. Not really. Not really. You don't just, you know, it's different. Yeah, stick to your lane. Don't come playing over here. I don't care how bad you think you are. You ain't been where I've been. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. You big and bad right here locally. When I'm known all over the country. I can go to California, someone knows me now. I'm not being arrogant. I'm being a matter of fact about it. Letting these devils know. I'm known coast to coast. You a local. You known by Delhi people. Huh?